Wait, I didn't say my channel name. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome to Rapacious Reads. I am Rebecca, and this is my channel. Today, I thought we could do a little discussion video about how to appear perfectly indifferent while crying on the inside. And this is by Jay Winston Ritchie, a Canadian author who is from here in Montreal. He has previously written Something You Were, Might Have Been, and Have Come to Represent. And this is his first book of poetry, but he does have some publications in some anthologies, and I'll link a Canadian journal below where you could check out some of his other poems. Now, this has a very millennial sort of feeling to it, and my favorite poem is the first poem in the book, which is not the title poem. It is I Want to Die in a Plane Crash in Remote East Africa. And I thought I would read it to you, and then we could discuss some of the interesting things about it. I want to die in a horrible plane crash in remote East Africa. I want a lioness to consume my body and nap in the sun. I want a Nairobi poacher to capture the lioness and sell her to the San Diego Zoo for $75,000 US. I want the lioness to experience a throbbing nostalgia for remote East Africa for the rest of her captive life, but be unable to articulate that throbbing nostalgia to her new peer group for fear of misrepresenting a fundamental part of herself. Not that the microculture fostered by the exhibit would understand, the enclosure being full of party lions, their extrovert tendencies only accentuating her introversion, the lioness incapable of vocalizing anything on the subject other than a forlorn, self-pitying, whiny moan uttered when in relative solitude. I want this to be my afterlife. I want the lioness to be contemplating suicide by electric fence when the Great West Coast earthquake of 2032 hits, and half of California drops into the Pacific Ocean. I want a rebranded Casey Affleck bent on animal activism to use Ben's helicopter to airlift the lioness from the rubble and bring her to Nigeria, where she will star in his big picture Nollywood directorial debut about an ex-B movie actor who finds his soul in the heart of a lioness, making her the first Oscar-winning lioness ever, transforming cinema overnight and relocating the center of movie production from America to Nigeria, Hollywood being underwater. I want the fame to go to her head. I want her to become addicted to methamphetamines during a loveless marriage to the MGM lion and blow all the money she made selling wedding photos to Lion and Style on promotional material for her All Snoop cover album that bombs after their messy divorce, sending her to live broke and homeless in the Lagos metro system for a year, where she finds a dog-eared trade paperback of Pride and Prejudice that inspires her to write a best-selling memoir about her life experiences called Pride, My Nemesis, penned entirely on discarded metro tickets. I want Joseph Gordon-Levitt, mayor of the world, to get a Pride is My Nemesis tattooed on his bicep. I want the lioness to have already gone off-grid by this point and have no clue JGL breaks the Guinness World Record for longest French kiss. I want her to be settled in a zero-emission shack at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, apprenticing as a basket weaver. I want to die in a horrible plane crash in remote East Africa. Now, this is my favorite poem at first in the collection because I thought, oh, it's less millennial than the others. Also, it's got a narrative structure, and most of the other poems aren't quite as long. And coming from a background reading epic poetry, the narrative I found very interesting. But then I thought about what is this poem actually about? And I think it's about fame. And you see this like time and time again. So the lioness herself becomes famous. You have Casey Affleck, who reclaims his role and becomes more famous. You have the MGM lion. You have Jason Gordon-Levitt. And then I thought, okay, so what is the author saying about fame? Who is the author in all of this? Because you see, he takes himself out of it in the first line of the poem. He dies. So he's talking about his relationship with fame. And we, in the 21st century, tend to be quite separated from famous people. And we observe and we're fascinated by it, but we don't have that intimate relationship. And by dying and being consumed by this lioness, he is intimately acquainted with fame. And he lives the famous life he wants. So he's saying that the thing that matters most to him, his afterlife goals, are fame. And I just found that really interesting. So if you would comment below about what do you think the personification of the lioness means, and maybe recommend some local poetry of your own. This has been Rebecca from Rapacious Reads.